Swiss, but that doesn't mean that he didn't learn a thing or two from that matchup. He was telling us how he thought Deshaun played really well in the match, and how he was not expecting an easy match here in top 8. So as Deshaun Baylock is the top seed, he will be going first. Both players look like they have their 7. Deshaun's already kept. Not sure about Caleb. I'm not sure if he's thinking about his hand or they're just waiting for the go-ahead to start.
Yeah, Caleb has to be very careful choosing his starting hand. He has to know that Deshaun Baylock can really, out of the gates, just get him. Deshaun Baylock can combo as early as turn 2. Or even turn 1 on a good enough hand. But, yeah, Deshaun, I think, just trying to want to keep a hand that's fast, that has most of the combo.
Yep, we'll see what he has here.
Turn 1 Scalding Tarn from Deshaun Baylock. Caleb does have Force of Will in the opener. It's exactly what he needs. Deshaun has a Daze, so Caleb leads off just on basic Island.
Yep, it looks like Caleb, those 2 altar cards are Dazes. He has a Force of Will, he has an Emrakul. So he's missing only one part of his combo here.
And that's the Show and Tell. Yep. He has plenty of offensive counter magic, but once he draws that Force of Will, once he draws that Show and Tell, Baylock should really be in the clear. Talisman by Caleb. Both players on 7-card hands, by the way. And end step, Deshaun's going to crack both fetch lands, knocking himself down to 18. Life total's fairly irrelevant in this match. Well, Caleb's life total, not very relevant. Caleb has to damage Deshaun, so damage will matter on Deshaun's side.
Right. Now, Deshaun Baylock has to watch out, though, because if he casts Show and Tell, drops an Emrakul into play, and Caleb drops a Jace, of which there are 3 of in his deck, Deshaun's in a lot of trouble.
Right.
Jace, of course, would just -1 to bounce it back to his hand.
And he's casting Daze on the Talisman.
Yep, he knows these Dazes are not really gonna be that great late game, especially if he lets Caleb resolve all of these mana sources.
Is that a second Emrakul in Deshaun's hand?
Yeah, he really needs a Brainstorm.
Yeah. Kevin cracked both fetch lands, so he has an Ancient Tomb, 2 Emrakuls, a Daze, and a Force of Will. So that second Emrakul no good. Another Talisman out of Caleb. Caleb has a Tezzeret, a Force of Will in his hand. The rest of it, unknown. And second damage there, Caleb is going to make Thopter Foundry.
Yep, not particularly relevant in this matchup.
Nope, it'll make 2 1/1s. And, it might eat the Talisman. And Deshaun's going to daze the Talisman as well. I don't know how I feel about that second Daze there. I maybe would have wanted to hold on to that.
Yeah, I don't know. The Thopter Foundry, maybe Deshaun just wants to buy himself some time so that he can draw into a way to shuffle those Emrakuls back, or at least one of them. But there's a Burning Wish in his hand.
Right, now that one's going to get countered. That's how I feel like... So, Burning Wish for 2. That's why I feel like Caleb would have wanted, or Deshaun would have wanted to have had at least another Daze.
Right. Caleb will let the Daze resolve here.
Or the Burning Wish. And so Deshaun's going to get the Show and Tell. He plays 1 Show and Tell on the board. So he has his Show and Tell. Caleb will put a Tezzeret into play off of Show and Tell if it happens right now. I do not believe he has the Jace. Deshaun, Ancient Tomb can go for it this turn. It will not resolve. Caleb does have a Force of Will.
Right. Deshaun wisely waiting on...
Good call. Planeswalkers actually can't come out from a Show and Tell. It's actually just it's creatures, artifacts, and lands, I believe. And enchantments.
Oh boy.
Yeah. The card printed before the days of Planeswalkers, so instead of saying a non-land, instead of having a permanent to play, it actually lists the types, and as a result, you can't play a Planeswalker.
Right.
Yeah, so our mistake, you can't put in Planeswalkers off Show and Tell because it's an older card.
Sorry about that mistake there.
Right. Yeah, Tezzeret is made on Caleb's side, and he's going to go find Baleful Strix. That will turn on the Force of Will that's in Caleb's hand.
Yeah, it's a great pitch to Force of Will. The Baleful Strix not going to do a heck of a lot in this matchup.
Once again, here's where I kind of wish Deshaun Baylock, he's going to go for a Show and Tell. It's where I wish Deshaun Baylock would have hung on to some of those Dazes.
Right.
And that'll get forced. And Deshaun has another Show and Tell in his hand.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he forces back right here, or if he just waits until next turn.
I would wait until next turn. I think the best play here is for him to wait. He can go for it again next turn. As long as he draws another blue card, then he will be fine. Then he'll have basically asked Caleb for yet another counter spell.
Right, of which he only has 3. 3 more.
So but Sean's going to go for it right now. He's going to force back, brings himself down to 15.
And that will resolve.
All right, so Show and Tell. Resolving. Caleb has a Wormcoil engine. Unfortunately, Wormcoil doesn't fly.
Caleb also has a Jace in hand.
So the Strix, the Death Touch Strix, and Emrakul make the battlefield. So the Strix can actually trade with the Emrakul.
Sort of.
Well, it'll be Caleb's entire board. So, but Deshaun, right now his hand is another Emrakul, and that's it. So Deshaun would have to find another show and tell to then win the game.
Right. I think Caleb is about to slam a Jace unless I missaw the card in his hand. No, I think that's a Jace. He can even play around Daze here.
Yeah, and Jace the Mind Sculptor down for Caleb Durward. That should get him this game. Jace. Remember, Jace can unsummon Emrakul.
Yep.
And Deshaun with very few outs now.
Right. Yeah, for him to deal with the Jace in the main deck, there really are not many ways. He would have to Burning Wish for something like, let's see here. No, there's not a heck of a lot.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate for Deshaun Baylock that he's only had 2 Emrakuls as opposed to getting a Gristlebrand into play. Gristlebrand, a much stronger show and tell target.
Right.
In this matchup.
Right. 2 Emrakuls in the deck, 2 Gristlebrands. So
right.
Got pretty unfortunate to draw both Emrakuls there. So Caleb Durward trying to steal this one away from Deshaun Baylock.
And he should be able to do it. There are not, yeah, he's going to start hitting for 5. He has Deshaun Baylock on dead next turn, and there's not a draw for Deshaun Baylock that'll actually save him here. Well, actually, yeah, if he, nope, he drew a Daze, that won't do it.
Yep, and now it's simply a matter of animating his Strix and swinging in.
Yep, so he passes the turn. Caleb animates the Strix. Deshaun will scoop. Game 1, kind of a break there for Caleb. Good break for Caleb Durward. So, looking at sideboards, Deshaun Baylock now has an uphill battle. He nods there, acknowledges both of that. It's really that Jace that does it.
But before we look at the sideboards, we actually have a trivia question for you.
So we're in our top 8. So we're going to bring you back to the booth for a second. For those of you who are new to watching Star City Opens, during our top 8, top 4, and finals, between the middle of the matches, we give you a trivia question.
Right.
If you can correctly tweet the answer at hashtag SCG Premium, which is
right
listed
there,
right below our logo there, you will receive some number of months of Star City Premium content. So since it's the top 8, we give away 3 months of Star City Premium for a correct answer.
3 months for the top 8, 6 months for the top 4, and the full year for the finals.
All right. So our first question involves one of the decks in the top 8, and this is not a deck. This is a deck that we saw a couple rounds ago. It's the Enchantress combo deck of Chris Anderson. He is currently playing in the bottom half of the bracket, and we are asking you, what new card from Return to Ravnica has Chris Anderson included in his deck? So it's in the sideboard. It's not a main deck card.
Right. And now if you don't know it off the top of your head, you can go to starcitygames.com, look at the coverage page. We've uploaded the deck list. Check it out.
All right.
Make sure you tweet with SCG Premium.
All right. And we'll announce the winner after all the top 8 matches have finished. All right. So with that, let's bring you back to our game. Right now, Deshaun Baylock on the play, game 2, down a game against Caleb Durward. Deshaun kept a 7 this last game. He was a little bit of a looser 7. He had the Emrakul and a pair of Dazes. Part of me wants to think the Dazes were not, didn't end up getting the value that he wanted to out of them.
Well, if he didn't use the Daze to counter the first Talisman, all of Caleb's spells would have been played with 1 extra mana up, so I don't know if he ever could have gotten better use out of them.
Right, so say he counters the first Talisman.
Yeah.
And then the second, then what happens is if he waits and Dazes that Force of Will, then he'll have a force back to force the Jace, and the Jace comes down.
Right, now the thing about that is Caleb might then not have tapped out for the Tezzeret.
So,
but
yeah, there's enough ifs in here that it's really hard to say how it would have gone.
Yeah. I agree, though, that the second Daze was questionable. The first Daze I definitely think was right. Second might not have been the right play.
Agreed.
So looking at the sideboard here, Caleb Durward, not really a heck of a lot. Dread of Night, Perish. I guess he could side in Curse Totem to make Gristlebrand not activate, though that's pretty niche.
I think he'll do it. There certainly are enough cards in his deck that don't do anything. That, for example, the Go for the Throat in the main deck, there's nothing actually worthwhile to Go for the Throat in Deshaun's deck.
Right.
Go for the Throat in Gristlebrand doesn't matter, and you can't Go for the Throat Emrakul.
Exactly. Emrakul has no throat.
Yeah. Emrakul has no throat. Vendilion Click will certainly come in from Caleb.
Yep.
And probably the pair of duresses.
Definitely a pair of duresses. Grafdigger's Cage doesn't do anything.
The one pithing needle, though, a second way to stop Gristlebrand, is probably also sided in. Caleb has a lot of dead cards, engineered explosives, ratchet bomb. There's enough stuff to side out that we should probably see him siding in a lot of these cards.
Right. Caleb Durward also has one ensnaring bridge that he can side in, so that's a great answer to Emrakul. Curse Totem is a okay answer to Gristlebrand, so he has answers to the creatures. He just has to get there.
The bigger problem is that Deshaun Baylock will have 4 red blasts out of the board.
And that's better than just about everything that Caleb Durward can muster.
Yeah, 2 defense grid, 4 red blasts. Probably all of these come in against Caleb.
Yeah.
Granted, Caleb only has 4 counter spells, but the Deshaun Baylock really is going to turn Caleb's already meager showings against his deck into even smaller ones.
Right.
Outside of that, I don't think he sideboards in anything else that I can come up with.
You know, one interesting card I saw in Deshaun Baylock's sideboard is Time of Need. I actually had to look it up to make sure it's the card I was thinking of. It's the Champions of Kamigawa green card that searches for a legend.
So Time of Need is a sorcery in the sideboard so that you can Burning Wish. So if you have the other wrong half of the combo, you can Burning Wish for Time of Need and then Time of Need into one of your legends in case you have the rest of the combo.
Exactly. Now, the green mana can only be gotten off the Lotus Petals, but ideally, you'll just be casting it with an Omniscience.
Right. So yeah, so if you show and tell into Omniscience without the monster, you can go find one.
Right. Probably a corner case, but I'm sure it comes out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Deshaun will be on the play for game 2, and I think his deck gets better after sideboarding.
Yeah, I think this matchup, I'd say, is probably 2-1 in Deshaun's favor and probably remains at least 2-1 post-board. I don't think we're going to see too much of a percentage change. Deshaun has to win 2 in a row. He is a favorite in both games. But, you know, Caleb's already stolen 1 game, so now it's very possible Caleb could do it again.
Right, especially on the play for a potential game 3.
Right.
And as soon as we know the results of any of the other matches, we will let you guys know. Right now, though, all still in game 1. Deshaun Baylock, Caleb Durward, they were the first game finished.
Right, and a really quick game there for them. You know, they finished the first game in about 6 minutes. Deshaun really going all in for the combo, getting thwarted, Caleb winning.
Yep, so both players mulling over their hands here. Looks like Deshaun is really the one with the decision. Went for his deck there, thought about it, thinking about it. Probably pretty borderline.
Alright.
Can't really make out too much of the hand there, but I think I see 2 dazes down there and definitely a Force of Will. And it looks like he's kept.
Okay.
Oh no, that's a mana heavy hand right there.
Yeah. Deshaun getting a little gun shy on mulliganing. It's at 5 lands in his hand or 4?
I think it's 4 lands, defense grid, Force of Will, and a blue card.
Okay, so we're not positive he might still be debating here. Looks like that Caleb hasn't picked up his hand yet, which usually means that Deshaun is still contemplating a mulligan.
Right.
Yet.
And like we told you earlier, those 2 wrist braces from Caleb are from a competitive shuffling accident, in case you were wondering.
Yeah.
What's the longest you've ever seen a player tank for in terms of a mulligan?
In terms of mulligan, I mean, I only have had people want to tank longer. Typically, if it gets over 30 seconds on a mulligan, I'll gently start prodding the player.
Right.
In an untimed match, I'm not sure. I'll let it go longer.
Yeah.
Island, and then City of Traders for Caleb into Dimir Signet.
Wow, great opening for him.
Yeah. Ancient Tomb, not exactly what Deshaun Baylock was looking for. He has Omniscience in his hand. He also has Force of Will and Defense Grid.
Right, so starting to set it up here.
Yep. He has the Force of Will. He has the Omniscience. He does not have weight, and everything else is a land. And that's going to get forced.
Wow, so Caleb Durward burns a Jace, burns a Force of Will. He knows he has to deal with that defense grid.
Yep, I think he's got to be worried that if he doesn't do this, that Deshaun Baylock is going to just combo him next turn. Deshaun will let that resolve, and I think that's correct.
Yeah, for sure. Caleb Durward only has 3 Force of Wills in his deck, and that's not a card worth fighting over. He's happy to get a Jace into Force of Will.
So 3 mana from Caleb, a 4th land, sacrifice that. Is this going to be a second Jace?
If it is, that is huge.
Well,
Wow.
that'll be forced
2
back,
Jaces.
probably. I think if you're Deshaun Baylock, yeah, and it is a Jace. I think if you're Deshaun, you have to force back
Yeah,
on this.
there's no way you can't do that. Even if you drew your perfect card show and tell next turn, that still doesn't do anything because you don't have anything to play with the Omniscience.
And Jace will beat you.
Right.
You have to force this. As much as it's really painful to have only have a hand of all lands, I don't think Deshaun can let this result.
Right. Deshaun Baylock's chance is definitely a lot better if he forces it. He'll still have a lot of live draws, including Brainstorms and Ponders.
Right, a Brainstorm will be essentially a draw 3.
Right.
Caleb with 2 great hands in this matchup.
Yeah, that's exactly what he needed here. Turn 2 Jace.
Yep.
It's huge with Force of Will backup.
Deshaun's going to have to counter, and I mean, he wishes he would have a card like Daze to counter this with.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Yep, he's going to do it. Force of Will, pitching Omniscience. Deshaun Baylock dropping to 19.
And Caleb Durward has to figure that that's the only blue card in Deshaun's hand since he thought so long about that.
Well, to be fair, if he had a show, he may have a 3rd show card. If it was show and tell, Deshaun would probably keep show and tell here.
Right.
And Gristlebrand.
Wow.
Well, now he's 1 card away from getting the win.
Yep. Just needs a show and
Yep,
tell.
another
Wow.
Force of Will for Caleb. Only 3 of them, but he is drawing them early and often. Dimir Signet into play. Pass the turn.
Yep, and he will just keep that Baleful Strix in hand. He would love to pitch that to the Force of Will.
More lands for Deshaun Baylock. Remember, his deck is incapable of actually casting
Right.
the Gristlebrand. I see Baleful Strix. Caleb does have a Tezzeret, so he has a very decent clock in this matchup. It looks like Caleb may be able to pull through on this. And no,
Wow.
he's drawn all his Force of Wills.
That is crazy. 3 Force of Wills drawn and about 10 cards for Caleb Durward. And Deshaun Baylock just keeps drawing land.
Yeah, really, I don't know. I don't know what if Deshaun really could have fought through this hand. This is a quite a winner for Caleb.
Yeah, this is a monster of a hand. Caleb is drawing the perfect card every turn here. He would have loved to hit a 4th land, but I'm sure that'll happen with one of these 2 draws here, Baleful Strix and Draw
Right.
Phase.
And he'll pass the turn to Deshaun Baylock with.
Gitaxian Probe, that's a start.
He really will not like what he sees. Probing on Caleb. Caleb's hand. 2 Force of Wills, 2 blue cards.
Wow. And that's going to be hard to beat for Deshaun Baylock.
Definitely.
It'll probably start with something like a Defense Grid.
At this point, Deshaun maybe wishes he'd have. Well, no, I want to say wishes he'd have forced back on Defense Grid, but then he'd be facing down a Jace. That's not any better.
Nope.
He forced on the right spell.
So Omniscience costs 10. Deshaun Baylock has 7. Could we possibly see a hard cast here?
Right, well, Deshaun Baylock does. I mean, we could. It'll get Force of Wills, but we
Right.
definitely could.
Oh, he's running Emrakul too. Wow,
Yeah.
just brick for
1, 2, 3,
Deshaun
4,
Baylock.
5, 6, 7, 8 mana in play with 7 more lands. He could cast that Emrakul.
All right. Could happen.
No.
No.
I'm not sure how that would, but he draws another. He's drawing 2 mana, 2 land producers. He drew a complete brick. Deshaun Baylock drawing Daze here.
Wow, just really unfortunate luck in the top 8 here. He hadn't lost a match leading up to this, but yeah, you have
No,
to
this
think he's
is-
going to lose this one.
Absolutely. Caleb and his Tezzeret deck in total command.
How does he do it?
Caleb's gonna go in
Tezzeret,
for the
Agent
kill.
of Bolas.
Yep. Tezzeret comes down, gonna make the Talisman a 5 power, swing for 7, then swing for lethal next turn.
Yep. And Deshaun Baylock going to
He
pretend to think like he's a Force
he
of Will
could
here.
daze it, to force the Talisman tap. That buys him not even a turn. Caleb will animate make a Strix's 5/5.
Right.
Doesn't even buy anything. It's not a worthwhile play.
And he doesn't do anything. Oh, wow, he plus 1s.
I think he wants to. Plus ones maybe.
Maybe he's trying to set up an ultimate next turn.
Possibly,
Tez ult.
Yeah. Yep. So Caleb getting easy revenge for his loss in the Swiss.
Yeah, he's
Hitting all 3 of his Force of Wills. No, sorry, he has 4. So he has 4. He has the full set.
Yep.
Yeah, all 4 of his Force of Wills, but hitting them, a Force of Will into turn, double Force of Will into turn 2 Jace.
exactly. He hasn't even cast any Brainstorms this game.
And only 1 Strix is going to get in for Caleb.
That's interesting.
Ponder out of Deshaun Baylock. Caleb may just force this. Doesn't have to. You can force whatever it finds. So you see Daze, Gitaxian Probe, and Omniscience. 1, 2. So Deshaun Baylock is only
He's on 9 lands.
He's only 1 land away from playing it, but he doesn't have the 10th land, so I don't think he can.
No, I think you're right. I think he has to shuffle these away and try and rip something he can cast.
Yeah.
Frustrating to be sitting on 9 with this 10 drop on top of your deck, but not much he can do here.
Yep, I don't think... I mean, well, what he can do is he can selectively pick one of these cards and then shuffle the other 2 away, which he probably will do.
Right. Now, we have an update from our outer tables.
All right.
Looks like Andrew Schneider has prevailed over Chris Anderson. We're working on the
the entire match?
I just saw him walking away, and he gave me a thumbs up.
All right, so Andrew Schneider winning presumably 2 games to 0 over Chris Anderson will confirm that.
If Chris Anderson won even 1 game, I think it would have lasted a lot longer.
Right, so Andrew Schneider playing blue-red Delver will be into our top 4. That means we will have a Delver deck in the finals as the right-hand side of the bracket. 3 Delver decks and the blue-green Enchanters. Chris Anderson not prevailing.
Right. So Deshaun draws 1 card. I think it was the Omniscience, and now he'll shuffle it up. Or no, he didn't draw a card at all. He just shuffled his deck. That's not a fetch land shuffle.
Yep, draws off Ponder, Heal, hit, Defense Grid. I mean, I think you go for it. I don't...
Yeah, you have to cast it here. It'll at least force a force from Caleb Durward.
Possibly not. Defense Grid makes them cost 3 more. Is that
3 more.
So if Caleb gets the 6th land, he can just let that happen and then pay the 3 for both the Force of Will. Still have.
Suppose that's true too. Not often you see a Defense Grid gotten around in Legacy.
Right. Well, Caleb doesn't actually have to cast any more spells to win this game.
That's true. He'll be able to ride the Tezzeret to victory. And it won't take long. He'll need 2 more attack phases. Two mana from Deshaun. Here he goes. He'll try it. See if it resolves.
Yeah, I think if you're Caleb, you're fine letting this resolve. As odd as it sounds, okay, Caleb's not going to take the risk. He's going to Force of Will it.
Yep, so Caleb Durward down to 1 Force of Will. Deshaun Baylock, I think, can win this game if he draws runner here. It would probably start with something like a Brainstorm.
Right.
But Deshaun going to think about this, at least bluff a Force of Will.
It's very well done here.
In terms of extra counters for the sideboard, he also has Red Elemental Blast to think about, so Caleb, while it seems to us like Caleb is for sure going to win this game, he can't be comfortable right now.
Right, the red blasts are all, are excellent here.
Right, and they only cost 1. So he'll ship it back. Baleful Strix untaps. Card drawn. He gets a Vault of Whispers.
So Caleb Durward, another Talisman, just building his mana base more. He now has 5 mana up. He can cast a Force of Will.
Right. Doesn't even need to RFG the Tez.
The reason you probably wouldn't cast Force of Will is that doesn't play very well around Daze, which Deshaun does actually have here.
Right. Now, is this a Tezzeret Ultimate? Yeah, that's a lethal Tezzeret
That's a lethal
Ultimate.
Tezzeret Ultimate. 1, 2, 3. Yep, that's enough. All right, so Caleb Durward, 2 games to 0, defeats Deshaun Baylock. Caleb moving into the top 4. He will play the winner of Bernie Wen and Thomas Enevoldsen.
Yeah.
Enevoldsen.
And
apologies.
Really bad luck for Deshaun Baylock. Congrats on getting it this far, having no losses in the Swiss.
Yeah.
He'll pick up the top 8. And Caleb Durward on to the semis. So Omnitel was the deck that we predicted was really going to be successful here, but it's out pretty quickly, out 2-0.